Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. The time is 7:05 p.m. Eastern, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us for this information session. Tonight, we will be discussing the online and part-time graduate programs in Space Systems Engineering offered through the Whiting School of Engineering at Johns Hopkins University. My name is Cheryl Williams, and I am the Assistant Director of Recruitment and Marketing for the Whiting School of Engineering. With me tonight is Dr. Patrick Binning. Dr. Binning is the chair of our Space Systems Engineering program. He is also the Mission Area Executive for the National Security Space Mission Area of Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory, where he oversees programs that focus on space solutions to critical national security challenges. Dr. Binning has over 25 years of experience in program management, research and development, technology transfer, satellite operations, and executive management in the aerospace field. This fall, he will be teaching a course in applications of space systems engineering. Dr. Binning, would you like to say hello?
Hello, thank you, Cheryl.
For tonight's presentation, we'll start off with an introduction to Johns Hopkins Engineering. Next, Dr. Binning will discuss with you our master's program in space systems engineering. Then we'll review some helpful information on tuition and payment options, talk about next steps and important dates, and we'll end with a live question and answer session. If you have any questions at any point in the presentation, please type them into the questions tab on the control panel. If you are joining us via a cell phone or a tablet this evening, simply select the question mark to access the question section. We'll address all questions at the end of the presentation. So why study engineering at Johns Hopkins University? Johns Hopkins University was founded in 1876 as the nation's first research university. The School of Engineering opened its doors in 1913, and in 1915 it began offering part-time engineering coursework as night classes for technical workers. Since then, we have grown to offer more than 20 master's programs that can be completed part-time. 18 of these programs can be completed entirely online. Our programs are designed by people who thoroughly understand your industry. We like to say that our programs are for engineers, by engineers. Our faculty are all expert and working engineers, and our faculty and instructional designers construct new and update existing coursework every year so that it includes the most up-to-date information. In addition to our part-time programs, the Whiting School of Engineering has over 25 research centers and institutes. This includes our strong partnership with the Applied Physics Laboratory in Laurel, Maryland. We also offer full-time bachelor's, master's, and PhD programs that are conducted in residence at our Homewood campus in Baltimore. Our online and part-time programs are led by respected senior engineers from our Applied Physics Laboratory and faculty from our full-time programs. We are ranked in the top 20 best online graduate engineering programs by U.S. News & World Report. And of all the schools that are included in these rankings, we actually have the largest online part-time student population. So not only will you have lots of fellow students going through a similar learning experience, but these rankings really speak to the quality of our programs regardless of our size. And our school is experienced and well-equipped to help you navigate graduate education as an online student. The degree that you earn studying with us part-time is of the same quality as our full-time degree programs. Your diploma will not say online or part-time. You are eligible and highly encouraged to participate in commencement. And as a graduate, you will be one of more than 28,000 Whiting School alumni and will join our esteemed international alumni community. So that is a little overview of who we are and the value of our programs. Now Dr. Binning is going to talk to you more about our program in Space Systems Engineering. Dr. Binning?
Thank you, Cheryl. Hello, everybody. Space Systems Engineering program is for professionals pursuing careers in the development, management, and leadership of space systems, conceptualizing, designing, building, integrating, testing, and operating space systems. It's a new program. Having just completed our 4th year, we have 260 students in the program at various stages of progression. And it's in high demand and growing quickly because, well, space careers are really taking off. So our faculty, as Cheryl mentioned, are drawn from the space industry, subject matter and practitioner experts. This particular chart has about 20 photos missing, since 3 of our courses have guest lectures drawn from across the applied physics lab and government industry that come in to instruct a particular specific technical topic. And I'll talk about that in future slides. So our program delivers a Master of Science in Space Systems Engineering. We do not offer a certificate as perhaps some other programs that you see in the part-time and online program. There are 2 focus areas: those that want to dig deep and stay deep in the technical systems and subsystems, and those that are more interested in leadership, management, and program management. These 2 focus areas guide the electives that we offer. You don't need to pick one focus area over the other. They're just a guide. And you can pick electives from either depending on your interests and where you want to go in your career and as you develop your coursework in this program. Like other programs in the Engineering for Professionals program, 10 courses in 5 years. That's the very simple mapping of it. This particular figure is a little misleading. It's not required to do the 5 core courses than the 5 electives. In fact, I'll talk about our preferred approach for the program to take 3 of our core courses and then weave in the 5 electives and then conclude with our 2 capstone courses, and I'll talk about that coming up. But the bottom line is 10 courses, 5 years is a reasonable progression for students in this course. Our 5 core courses are shown here, and they're shown in the order that we recommend them being taken, with the first 3 shown being the first 3 that you would take, and the last 2 shown being the last 2 that you would take, not required to doing it in that order. We do really recommend the first 3 in the order you see here, and that is a requirement. Systems Engineering for Space Systems is similar to the first course in the Systems Engineering program, but we weave in what we'll call the Space Systems Special Sauce. 2 courses come up after that: the Fundamentals of Engineering Space Systems 1 and 2. We go into that deep in the next couple of charts, followed by our core course, Applications of Space Systems Engineering. I'll talk deeply about that, and then wrap up with the Small Satellite Development and Experimentation. And you can see the residency requirement, which is a Laurel-based on the Applied Physics campus, where we do spacecraft hands-on work in a laboratory environment, and I'll talk about that as well. It is an on-site requirement for 1 weekend, and there's plenty of planning ahead to know when that weekend happens. So after you take the first course, which is the Systems Engineering for Space, this is your next 2 courses, and it is set up to be a sequence from a fall to a spring or to a spring to a fall. You first would go into the Fundamentals of Engineering Space Systems 1. You go through those 13 or 14 topics. There's homework for each of those and a midterm project. In this case, you are teamed with pairs of students, 3 to 5, through FES 1 and then into FES 2. And if you look at the topics and you see here, you will cover an end-to-end spacecraft and space system, from the engineering and requirement side of it, techniques, command and delayed handling, thermal, electrical, attitude, flight software, and then in FES 2, orbit mechanics, telemetry, more detailed thermal management, attitude control, configuration mechanical, end-to-end systems engineering, and detailed technical work on these 2 courses. Each of these topics are instructed by a guest lecturer who does that specific topic for a living in industry as well. I mentioned you're teamed in this one. It is a team-based project, so not only do you individually do homework in the particular area you see here, you have a midterm project at the end of FES 1 and then a final project at the end of FES 2. And the project is very detailed, very interesting. You show that you've got the matter well understood, that is being taught. The project is a constellation of small satellites for global remote sensing that you will go through a conceptual design for. And the midterm project talks about design budgets, the payload concept, and a subsystem assessment. And then the final presentation, the final project, wraps all that up in a detailed design. It's a very unique offering. You can't find this anywhere else. And you will leave these two courses with a solid understanding of the engineering of space systems. The fourth core course, one that we recommend to be taken after some electives, is the application of space systems engineering. It's typically your second to last course. We again bring in guest lecturers for these course topics. So the course topics you see now may or may not be exactly the same as the ones that are instructed when you take this course. We try to keep them current. The field changes, topics become stale, new topics become more interesting. We'll pluck a lecturer out of industry to build something new to bring in here. So there's always something new and current in the semester that you would take this. For instance, our space situational awareness topic is taught by a retired Air Force colonel. Our weather topic is taught by a world-renowned expert in that discipline. Our additive manufacturing topic is taught by an expert at APL who runs our entire laboratory of 3D printing and additive manufacturing. This is a great course, and it is case study based. So there's homework each week. Some are done individually. 5 are team projects. So you'll be teamed up with other people in your course. You'll get to know who they are. The teams we shuffle around so that you don't have the same team for all the projects. It lets you get to know your students. All of these courses can be done remotely. They're not all yet able to be watched asynchronously. I'll talk about that at the end. But when you're remote, it's hard to learn and know who your peers are in the course. So much like in FES 1 and 2, this course, we try to get you to learn and meet some of your peers in the program. These are our proposed focus area electives shown by area of interest that we have here, the focus areas. Focus area 1 being technical, focus area 2 there being leadership and management. And again, I'll repeat that you don't pick a focus area, and you may pick and choose any of the subjects you see here to meet your interest. They're just categorized to focus your attention should you have an interest in one side or the other. I'll also add that it may be that you browse the catalog of the Whiting School and the part-time program. There may be a course you see that interests you. Maybe it's in data sciences, maybe it's in computer science, maybe it's cyber related, but you think it's applicable to your pursuit of space systems. We recommend that you propose it and convince your academic advisor that it is a good elective. And in most cases, the academic advisor will approve it. There are hundreds and hundreds of courses available. We pulled these as ones that were very unique, but it may be that you have an interest to dig more deeply in mechanical as well. There's 5 new courses in development that by the time you come on board in a year, they'll be available. Those 5 courses are electro-optical systems for space, antenna design for space systems, guidance, navigation, and control of space systems, flight software for space systems, and ground system and space flight operations. So those 5 are not shown on here, but they're in development, and we're always developing new courses, and this electives list will only grow. Our capstone course, which tends to be the course most students take in their last semester before graduation, is the Small Satellite Development and Experimentation course. And here are some photographs of students in the laboratory working with the hardware. This is a residency requirement. There's 10 weeks of coursework in preparation for the weekend residency. We combine the final 3 weeks into this weekend to dig in because you're here for so many hours. both a Friday arrival, all day Saturday, Sunday morning, and depart on Sunday afternoon. In this case, again, you're put in teams of 2 to 4 around this educational spacecraft that is fully functioning as a spacecraft. You disassemble it, you work with the components you take off and learn and test them, and then you integrate, reassemble, and test the system that you put together. There's an expected level of development of what type of tests you want to do before you come in there. You write that up, the instructors review it and kind of guide sort of areas of interest. You can take certain paths that interest you versus what may interest other student groups and walk down that path. This is a very unique offering. These are very unique instructional spacecraft. There's an industry out there called CubeSats. These are CubeSats that are educational of 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter size, and you get to actually get a hands-on experience with hardware in a way that I don't think any program offers at this stage. And that is, you can go to the next chart. This again is our capstone course, the Small Satellite Development and Experimentation course. And another picture, the instructor there standing is Drew Knuth. He is one of the 2 instructors on this. And you can see here they're illuminating solar panels, taking some data on the power. It is being hung by a wire so that the attitude system can be put into place so that the spacecraft can actually move and have some flexibility, and you can command it and see how it responds. A very outstanding set of instructions. The mission requirements, very similar to other part-time. A bachelor's degree is required. We need a technical discipline. It's really, really helpful to have college-level physics and college-level calculus. The first 3 courses are very technical and very intensive mathematical courses because this is a technical discipline. And then obviously we have the leadership and management component of it, but there is a deep, deep technical requirement. GPA of 3.0 and plus, and then relevant work experience is helpful. This is a part-time program. It's an engineering for professionals program. There is some level of expectation that you have some time in the field, and you're bringing that to the class and experience base. Program pathways, the 4 methods to take courses in the Whiting School are shown here. 2 of these are not available in the Space Systems Engineering program. We do not have an on-site component, and we don't have a combined online and on-site component. We have an online component, and we have a virtual live component. Like I mentioned, for this degree and this program, it may be entirely done from a remote location, with the exception of the 1 weekend residency. For the courses that you register for that have the marker online, that means it's been built in such a way that you can go through it in a week for that particular piece of material at a cadence that you want to on your own time. We call that asynchronous. Basically, you watch the material when you're free and available. The second way that the Space Systems Engineering program instructs is virtual live. This is a synchronous method that you can actually attend in person in Laurel, if you'd like, or remotely, but it is a scheduled synchronous time for instruction. The instructor logs on at a particular time, the course starts, it is being broadcast, you have a access point to watch the material remotely, and if you miss it, they're typically recorded, then you can watch that at your leisure over the course of the week. There are live office hours done for both of those variants. The office hours are synchronous, meaning they're scheduled at a particular time. A link is sent out. The instructor is on there waiting for students to pop in, ask questions, and interact with the instructor. The courses have Blackboard sites that the material is released, that homeworks get loaded into, that the grades are put into, that the discussion boards exist for the students to introduce themselves, as well as to interact, ask questions, and things of that nature. This is the map of the on-site locations for the Space Systems Engineering program. Again, we only offer an online variant and virtual live variant, and 4 courses that have virtual live that offer students to come to see the instructor, even though it is still being broadcast. Those are only done at the Applied Physics Laboratory, seen there between Washington, D.C. and the Homewood campus. With that, Cheryl, I'll turn it back to you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Benning. So now we'd like to share some information with you to help you take this next step. Some of the most common questions that our admissions team gets from prospective students is, what is the tuition and what resources are available to help me pay? So here it is. Our tuition is currently $4,250 per course. Our courses are 3 credits each, so this is the total tuition cost for each 3-credit course. Because our tuition fluctuates every year due to inflation, we encourage students to budget $45,000 total for the cost of their degree. This cost may exclude books and materials. The cost of books and materials really varies depending on the coursework that you register for. However, in addition to tuition, our students do not pay any regular fees. So we do not charge a technology fee on a semesterly basis. Our online and part-time students do not pay, for example, a student union fee or anything like that. We do not charge a fee to submit your application for admissions, so there's no application fee. The only fee that our students pay is a fee at the end of their course of study with us, known as a graduate's fee. You have a variety of financing options available to you depending on your personal circumstance. I really encourage you to investigate and to take advantage of any education benefits that your employer may offer. The majority of our students are actually using some sort of employer-provided tuition benefit to help them finance their education benefits. So reach out to your supervisor, reach out to your HR department, see what's available to you. We unfortunately do not have any scholarships available for our online and part-time graduate students, but there are other associations and organizations that do. For example, the National Consortium for Graduate Degrees for Minorities in Engineering, otherwise known as the National GEM Consortium, does offer fellowship programs. Rules, requirements, and application instructions can be found on GEM's website. The application for these fellowship programs is open from July 1st to November the 13th. If you are a U.S. citizen or a qualifying U.S. resident, you may be eligible to use financial aid. The financial aid that's available for graduate students is largely unsubsidized loans. So similar to that, you can of course finance your education through a personal loan. And if you are active duty or retired military and you have veterans benefits, you can of course utilize these to finance your education. We do have a number of active duty and retired military enrolled in our online and part-time programs. If you are planning on using veterans benefits to finance your education, here are some things to keep in mind. The URL that you see here on your screen, ep.jhu.edu/veterans, has some great information on what forms you need to submit in order to utilize veterans benefits at Johns Hopkins. For students using Chapter 33 post 9/11 benefits, the Department of Veterans Affairs sets an annual cap on tuition for private schools. That cap is $23,671.49, and that is for an entire academic school year. So it includes the fall, spring, and summer semesters, and then it renews every fall. We just talked about our tuition costs a couple slides ago. 5 courses comes underneath the tuition cap. The cost for 5 courses is $21,250. The cost for 6 courses, however, will exceed that tuition cap. The cost for 6 courses is $25,500. Johns Hopkins is a yellow ribbon school. How yellow ribbon works at Johns Hopkins is that it is applied once the tuition cap is exceeded. And if it is exceeded, qualifying students can receive up to $1,000 per year. It's awarded on a first come, first served basis. Coming this fall, there are some changes regarding how the VA will be calculating the housing allowance for Chapter 33 recipients. BAH, your basic housing allowance, will be calculated using the zip code for your on-site classes, i.e. the physical location of the classroom utilized. We are also happy to announce that Hopkins offers various networking opportunities for our veteran students. Current students, there is an online networking group via LinkedIn. Simply search the Johns Hopkins University Veterans Connection Group or simply Johns Hopkins Veterans to find that group on LinkedIn. For alumni, we offer a networking group through our Alumni Affinity office. Simply visit alumni.jhu.edu to find more information on that group. Students who are educated outside of the U.S. do have some additional admissions requirements. They are that they must submit an international credit evaluation of any credit earned at non-U.S. institutions. We prefer students go through WES. That's a third-party credit evaluation company. We prefer that they go through this company to get this evaluation. The evaluation that you want to request is called the ICAP. These students also must provide proof of English proficiency via, for example, qualifying scores on a TOEFL exam. Unfortunately, international students studying on an F1 student visa are not eligible to enroll in our online and part-time graduate programs, as our registrar's office can no longer issue these students an I-20. The I-20 is the form necessary to maintain an F1 student visa. It confirms the location of a student's classes and that the student is indeed taking in-person classes at the university. Because we are migrating more and more of our coursework online at the request of our students, we are not confident that we have enough on-site coursework for these students to meet their residency requirements. International students, however, are permitted to study with us online from their home country. Next steps and important dates. If you are interested in studying with us, your first step is to submit your application for admissions. Again, we do not charge any application fee to submit your application. You can submit that document by visiting ep.jhu.edu/apply. It's a very easy online form. Your next step is to submit your academic transcripts and your professional resume. Instructions on where to submit those documents can be found just above the online application by visiting this particular URL that I just read here. All of that can be found on the online application. We have rolling admissions for our online and part-time students. Typically, it takes 4 to 6 weeks from the time that we receive a student's completed application, so that's their online application, plus their academic transcripts and their professional resume, 4 to 6 weeks to review that packet and then issue that applicant a decision letter. So with that timeline in mind, here are some important dates. Fall semester is right around the corner. Fall registration opens on July the 5th, and the fall semester begins on August the 27th. So if you're interested in studying with us in the fall, please submit your application materials as soon as possible so that we have enough time to review them before the semester begins. The spring semester, spring registration will open on October the 25th, and the semester will begin on January the 28th. So we do have plenty of time before the spring semester if you're interested in studying with us. That's for that particular start date. You have plenty of time to submit your documents. And that is the end of the prepared portion of this presentation. Now I'm going to go ahead and open it up so that we can answer some of your questions. Again, if you'd like to ask myself or Dr. Binning a question, simply type the question into the control tab, the questions tab on your control panel. If you're joining us via a cell phone or a tablet this evening, simply select the question mark to access the question section. Dr. Binning, are you ready for your first question?
I am, Cheryl. Let's go.
All right. So we have a number of excellent questions that have come in. Oh, interesting. This is an interesting question. Oh, okay. All right. So this student is wondering, for students coming from a country where the first language is Spanish, inquiring if the GRE is important for those particular students. And you know, what I would say there is that for those students, what's most important is like a TOEFL exam, really. But Dr. Binning, do you have any additional things that you want to add there?
No, the GRE is not required and not important from my perspective. Command of the language and the background degree and professional experience definitely is way more important. We don't even evaluate the GRE for this program.
Mm-hmm. All right. Does this program have ABET accreditation?
This program does not. There's one program in the part-time and online education that does have ABET accreditation. That is the systems engineering program specifically. We have not pursued that, and it's not in our plans at this time to pursue the ABET accreditation.
All right. And I will say that the Whiting School of Engineering is an ABET accredited institution, and we're also accredited by Middle States. And Dr. Benning, correct me if I'm wrong, what typically happens at institutions is that they will oftentimes seek out the ABET accreditation for their undergraduate programs. And so the reason why we have a ABET accreditation, or one of the reasons, it's not the only reason why we have ABET accreditation for systems engineering, is we don't have an undergraduate program in systems engineering, so that was available to us at that time. And also, space systems is a relatively new program as well, correct? So
that's right. We just completed our 4th year of instruction.
Okay. So next question. Oh, okay. So this attendee, it has been over 10 years since I've been in an undergraduate calculus and physics for engineering class. Is some review incorporated into the first couple of core classes, or is the student expected to review independently?
I think in this stage, so I read this question beforehand and I saw it, and I thought about it this way. When a child learns to ride a bicycle and they don't ride the bike for 10 more years, they're able to get on a motorcycle and figure it out. I think it's the same way with the physics and calculus. The mathematical background is there. The understanding of physics is there. You've gone through the curriculum. I do not think it is necessary, and we don't go over a review of those topics. If one wanted and felt like they needed to, there's certainly free online variants to ramp yourself up to speed. If a particular area you got stuck on, perhaps, you can easily find, we all know Khan Academy has got outstanding resources in these areas, and you can just go in there and kind of ramp yourself up pretty quickly. But I don't think it'll be an issue. I haven't had anybody have an issue with that. If they've taken physics, they've taken calculus, they've done great in the coursework. If they haven't taken them, they tend to struggle. And the timing of it all hasn't really been seen to be an issue.
All right. Do you accept transfer credit from other graduate programs? And if so, what is the maximum amount of credits that JHU will accept?
In the part-time and online course, we accept transfer credits. Yes, we do, from other graduate programs. And we accept a maximum of 2 courses. For instance, and they need to be from disciplines that are engineering, and they need to be in the discipline we're working. The way we work that in this program, they're typically electives. However, if you took a systems engineering course, it might be that we would allow you to get out of one of our intro course. We find folks do this very often. There are some programs that we know are out there that folks take that we don't allow transfer into. We don't think their courses are rigorous or technically deep enough, but it's a case-by-case basis. So my recommendation, when you get accepted, send your advisor the 2 courses or 1 course that you would like to transfer in. There's a fee for that. I think it's $400, and you transfer that credit in and you get that checked off as an elective, and it's a course you do not need to take. So we do transfer them in, and it happens very often.
All right, wonderful. This attendee has, I wouldn't say it's a non-traditional background, but they say that I have a master's degree in mathematics education. Would this suffice for the prerequisite?
There's a caveat to me in that we'd also like to understand what the undergraduate degree is. We'd like to see what the grade level is. In this case, what we tend to do, depending on the background, is recommend to wait a year, go take a community college course in physics. But if you have a strong mathematical background and you take a physics course to catch up to speed, we tend to let folks in that nature. What I recommend is apply. You might not get accepted. You might get rejected. There'll be an email on there to rebut it. Email to the advisor or me in there asking to have it be reconsidered. And then what you'll get is an interaction then on what it will take to be admitted. And in this case, if you do have a mathematics background, and if you've had calculus in there and you have an undergraduate degree of some effort, and we would recommend, and we'll put in there, go on to a community college, take a year of college level physics, then reapply, you'll get in. We might admit you conditionally to make sure you can get through the first 3 courses. Well, we don't want you to struggle, and that should be fine.
All right. All right. This next question, this attendee has what I think is an interest in a particular topic. Can you study, for example, rare field gas dynamics and surface interactions from a space systems perspective in the 2 capstone courses?
Let's see, I see that topic, looking for rarefied gas dynamics and surface interactions from a space systems perspective. So I would, I'm going to say yes, but, and the 2 capstone courses, it would not be the place for that to happen. There is another option, and the other option is special studies in space systems engineering. So we often have students who want to study a particular topic. They will find an academic advisor to walk them through it, and they'll put together a 14-week program. And the 14-week program will cover maybe the applied physics of rarefied gas dynamics and surface interactions. But we would add into it an understanding of what type of instrument one would need to measure and sample that, and then what type of data rates, and go through the space systems development perspective on that matter. In fact, just this past semester, we had an instructor create a special 14-week program, combine space systems engineering and applied physics to look at designing an interstellar probe. NASA has an interest in that. The applied physics staff have an interest in that. And we took students through 14 weeks of advanced physics and engineering to have them come up with ideas and challenges and do a project to come up with an interstellar probe concept. So it's it's definitely a yes to this question, but there's a way to go about doing it that requires an instructor and an advisor to help build a course around.
All right. All right. Okay, here, this attendee's question is, do you have any recommendations for electives that are particularly well done or beneficial? Any
yes,
favorite elective classes?
All of them are great. I'm not going to, on this, kind of target individuals, but here's what I recommend to this person who asked the question. Apply, come on in, get accepted, get introduced to your academic advisor, and then have that question, ask that question. Exchange with your academic advisor what your interests are, where you want your career to go, what are you working on now, what do you see yourself working on in 5 years, and then your academic advisor can help you cherry pick electives that he or she think are either well done or beneficial depending on where you want to take your career. All students get assigned an academic advisor. They're very responsive. It's a paid faculty position. They're all typically instructors, so they know the program very well, and they're career people in the field. They're working in the field, and they can help guide you through this course.
All right. All right. A question just popped up. Will this webinar be available for replay online? Yes, absolutely. We are recording our presentation this evening, and once it is posted online, I will email all of you the URL so that you can review it after this evening. So yes, you will have access to the recording of this presentation. It will be emailed to you within the next couple of days. Dr. Binning, next question. At the beginning of the presentation, it was broadcasted, the program was broadcasted as a 5-year program. Is it feasible to complete it sooner, maybe in about 3 years?
I think that's a great catch in the way that we erroneously presented this. We should have said should be done in 5 years or less. So 3 years, definitely. We have students that do it in 2 years. It depends on how many courses you want to take and how quickly you want to go through it. The tenure is the maximum number of years we let folks go from first course to final course. And it's simple. If you're doing it in longer than 5 years, we're not sure you're a serious student and you're beginning to sort of forget certain matters. There are exceptions to that, and they're on a case-by-case basis, but definitely many of our students do it in less than 5 years. We have courses that are offered during the summer. You can take more than one course in any given semester, and you can easily get this done. The 5-year piece makes it pretty easy. It's 2 courses a year over 5 years. For engineering professionals, people who are working that don't want to take a demanding course load, and they can take it. But definitely, less than 3 years is feasible and done very often.
All right. This next question, is it a requirement for admissions to be working or have worked in a similar field? What would you say to our applicants who have just graduated from their undergraduate program?
It is not a requirement. It is not a requirement. It's recommended. We'd like you to come in with some work experience. It helps you sort of understand the dynamics of the team arrangements and things of that nature. I think this questioner also has a BS in physics that's eminently appropriate for this area as well. And no, we would like that to be the case. It is not a requirement. If you have a degree and you have grades that are acceptable, it's perfectly appropriate to come in. Not many people do that. You will be a younger of your cohort than most of the students in it, but not by a great degree.
All right. Are courses in the summer term accelerated?
Yes, they are, in fact. So our fall and summer terms are 14 weeks in duration, and our summer term is 10 weeks in duration. So they are accelerated, which is also why many of our programs in this space systems engineering are not offered in the summer. It's not easy to compress some of the projects and the guest lecturers and things of that nature. The topics jump pretty quickly around. And so many of our core courses, in fact, only one of our core courses today is offered over the summer. It's our first course, the Systems Engineering for Space Systems. The other courses that are core are only offered in the fall and spring. But there are many courses that are offered in the summer, but they are compressed.
All right. Okay. All right. The time, we still have a couple of more minutes. If anyone has any additional questions for myself or Dr. Binning, while we wait for you to type those in, I'll just say that after this presentation, if you have any additional questions, maybe you're sitting at work tomorrow and you think of a great question that you'd like to ask Dr. Binning, you can simply just email those questions to me and I will forward them on to him. My email address is Cheryl, CHERYL .williams@jhu.edu. You can also just hit reply on the email with your login credentials for today's event, and I will make sure that that question gets to Dr. Binning. All right, Dr. Binning, I think we have a couple more questions and then we can wrap up this evening. Okay, this next question, can you start the program at any time? This attendee is referencing for his undergraduate course, only certain courses were available in the fall and in the spring. So can you start at any semester?
Both of these pieces are applicable. You can start the program at any time. We have 5 core courses. The big deal are getting the 5 core courses done. And there are so many electives to pick from. We'll talk about that separately. The 5 core courses, we only have 1 course that's offered year-round. That's the Systems Engineering course. The other ones are only offered in the fall and spring. And all 4 of them are offered both in the fall, and all 4 of those are offered in the spring. You will find that in the electives, some are not offered year-round. Some are only offered in the fall. Some are only offered in the spring. Particular instructors may have more than one course they teach, and they only want to do it one time a year. So you got to figure that out. And all that information is available online in the course instruction material. You can find out when they're offered. We can look at the schedule to see what's coming up as well. But yes, so you can start anytime. That's correct. And then certain courses are only offered in the fall and only offered in the spring, but not in this program. All of our courses are offered spring and fall.
All right. We have one question about kind of our GPA requirement, and then one of the attendees wanted us to repeat the information about accreditation, so I'll handle that second question first. The Whiting School of Engineering is an ABET accredited institution, and we are also accredited by, we have regional accreditation by middle states. The space, as we said earlier, the Space Systems Engineering program in and of itself is not ABET accredited because we haven't sought out that accreditation at this time. And then Dr. Binning, we have a couple of attendees wanting to know how firm the 3.0 GPA requirement is for admissions, if there's any way to petition for admissions with less than a 3.0 GPA.
Yeah, there was also a question in the beginning that about one person not being admitted. So if you apply and you get rejected, you receive a letter, and in the letter is a rebuttal opportunity to myself as the program chair. Take advantage of that. And what will happen for those who don't have a GPA over 3.0 is we will engage in an email dialogue, maybe take a phone call, talk about, understand what your professional background is. So again, we're looking for folks who have spent time in industry. We want to see your professional resume. That becomes part of it. Maybe there are certain difficulties you encounter because your GPA is that low. And if we think you'll be successful in the program, we will admit you conditionally. And what that means is you will be required to take the first 2 or 3 courses and not get a grade below a B-. And if you're successful in taking those first courses and getting a grade of B- or higher, the condition is removed and you're off and on your own to take the courses as you see fit. It is, on that note, it is a requirement that you may only receive a grade of C+ or less to get your degree. So we put that out there because we want students to be successful. We put that out there because we don't expect students to not do great in the course. And so C's are only authorized in one course. You may not get your degree with more than one grade of C+ or lower, if that makes sense. But there's a petition approach. They come to me. We will engage in a dialogue and kind of work through it, and we'll make sure that we think we'll both be successful in that. But I recommend it. If you're concerned, apply. If you don't get accepted, email me, and my name will be in the rejection letter.
All right. All right. Well, Dr. Binning, I think that's the end of our questions for this evening. Everyone, thank you so much again for joining us this evening. Thanks for giving us an hour of your time. Dr. Binning, thank you for joining us. Thank you for all of this great information on the program and for answering all of our questions.
Outstanding. And I look forward to seeing all these folks in the fall.